The public clash between manager Xabi Alonso and superstar Vinicius Júnior after the recent El Clásico was far more than a footballing incident. It was a masterclass in leadership, staged on one of the most complex political and sporting arenas on earth. This was the moment Alonso began laying the foundations of his reign, using a brilliantly calculated polarization strategy to seize control over the two biggest egos in the dressing room. He's playing a high-stakes psychological game, manipulating the intertwined forces of history, hierarchy, and economics to turn Vinicius into a symbol of discipline, while elevating Kylian Mbappé into a diplomatic ally. The decision to pull Vinicius off in the 72nd minute, replacing him with Rodrigo, was no spontaneous call. It was a cold, deliberate move, rich in symbolism. In those decisive final moments, Alonso prioritized structure and collective stability above everything else. Tactical breakdowns show that Vinicius had given everything, exhausting himself both in attack and through relentless gegenpressing, a principle Alonso demands religiously. The substitution made perfect sense on a technical level. It was a preventive measure, a move to avoid mistakes born from fatigue. But Alonso wasn't just making a substitution. He was conducting a psychological stress test on his biggest star. Vinicius, with his fiery temperament and constant need to be the center of gravity, interpreted the tactical move as a personal insult. His angry reaction, the words exchanged, the straight walk into the tunnel, wasn't merely emotional outburst, it was a public challenge to authority. And Alonso pounced. He understood perfectly what this moment represented. To build a lasting empire at Real Madrid, a club that has seen managers crumble under the weight of player power, he needed to set a precedent, one powerful enough to echo through the locker room. Toni Kroos's words about emotional understanding carried humanity, but they bowed to the greater law of leadership. Emotions can be understood, but discipline must be enforced. Alonso used Vinicius's explosion not as a setback, but as a statement. At Real Madrid, he reminded everyone, no ego stands above the manager, and no emotion outweighs the code of the collective. Alonso's management of Vinicius Júnior and Kylian Mbappé is a textbook example of situational leadership. Rather than forcing a one-size-fits-all approach, he tailors his methods to each player's personality, psychology, and strategic value within the team. With Mbappé, the club's newest superstar and a global figure carrying immense expectations both on and off the pitch, Alonso has embraced a soft power strategy. He's turned Mbappé into a diplomatic partner and the embodiment of professionalism. The team's tactical system has been subtly designed around Mbappé's strengths, granting him maximum creative freedom and publicly recognizing his influence. In doing so, Alonso satisfies the forward's ego while forging a mutually beneficial relationship. The manager protects and trusts Mbappé. In return, Mbappé remains committed and performs at the highest level. More importantly, Mbappé's composure and professionalism now serve as the behavioral benchmark in the dressing room. When Vinicius lashes out, Mbappé's restraint becomes a silent contrast, a mirror that exposes indiscipline without a single word. Through this dynamic, Alonso masterfully leverages peer pressure. Vinicius no longer faces only the judgment of his coach, but also that of the club's brightest star. It's a subtle yet powerful psychological mechanism that allows Alonso to stabilize one ego while compelling the other to self-correct. Vinicius, fiery by nature and historically prone to emotional overreactions when substituted, requires a tougher hand. With him, Alonso applies hard power, using El Clásico as a form of shock therapy. The intent wasn't to punish but to transform, to make Vinicius understand that brilliance does not grant immunity. By pulling him off in such a symbolic moment, Alonso delivered the most valuable lesson a young superstar could learn. Your worth is defined by how you serve the system, not how you defy it. By making Vinicius the first public example, Alonso set the tone for his entire regime, a statement of uncompromising authority. It was a bold, risky move, but one every great Real Madrid manager must eventually make, establishing beyond all doubt who truly commands the kingdom of the Bernabéu. The aftermath of El Clásico was handled swiftly and decisively, not by chance, but by the institutional power of Real Madrid itself. The verdict from the board and President Florentino Perez was unequivocal: full backing for Xabi Alonso. That decision instantly solidified Alonso's authority and left Vinicius Júnior standing alone. The club's internal response, considering fines or formal disciplinary action and assigning dressing room leaders like Carvajal, Valverde, and Courtois to speak directly with Vinicius, was part of a multi-layered management strategy. It wasn't just punishment from above, it was pressure from within. Vinicius was forced to confront the uncomfortable truth that his outburst had damaged the unity of the group. This approach effectively prevented him from rallying teammates to his side, reaffirming one of Real Madrid's most sacred principles: players may come and go, but the club and its discipline are eternal. Any thought Vinicius might have about leaving Madrid is, for now, more emotional than realistic. Economic and reputational barriers make such a move nearly impossible. His public meltdown has added a disciplinary risk tag to his profile, a red flag that makes top clubs wary of investing over 200 million euros in a player who could destabilize a dressing room. Managers obsessed with structure and discipline, like Pep Guardiola or Luis Enrique, would hardly take that gamble. The reality is, Vinicius has already reached the pinnacle of his career at Real Madrid, the club where he's lifted Champions League trophies and earned global recognition. There's simply no team in Europe, not even among England's richest, that matches Madrid's heritage, allure, or platform for immortality. And Madrid's history sends a clear warning. The club had no hesitation in moving on from legends like Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale when individual interests threatened collective order. Alonso is invoking that same legacy now, using the club's past to deliver a final message to Vinicius. No one is untouchable. Alonso's polarizing strategy is nothing short of genius, using Mbappé as the ideal role model and Vinicius as a cautionary tale to restore discipline. The El Clásico incident wasn't the end of anything. It was the turning point of Vinicius's career. He's now standing at a crossroads where raw talent alone is no longer enough. To become a true legend at Real Madrid, Vinicius must learn to master his emotions, place discipline above ego, and surrender himself to the system. Under Alonso's reign, survival and greatness demand the same price: transformation. Because Alonso's discipline, cold, calculated, and relentless, isn't meant to break a star. It's meant to polish one, to turn a raw diamond into something worthy of shining forever at the Santiago Bernabéu.